Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
No.
That's right. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We talk about Flippy in order to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update comes from the Denver Post. And the headline, Gons, I love that this is in Denver. Denver, Colorado. Ever heard of it? Hippies. The headline is Denver yoga classes taught by a robot? Question mark. It's not a stretch. I love jokes and headlines, man. It looks like a scene from the old futuristic cartoon, The Jetsons. Denver Post, no, it doesn't. Please just stop. Stop while you're ahead, okay? In a room in the engineering building on a cool April morning on the University of Denver's campus, a robot is teaching yoga and meditation to a few folks in their 60s and 70s. Real people, not cartoons. And the robot, yes, he's real too. All too real. He's called Ryan.
We've come full circle from the beginning of Canary Cry NewsTalk.
Circle Ryan.
We talked about Ryan on the first episode, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, I recently, folks, just listened to the very first episode of Canary Cry NewsTalk back in 2016 or whatever, and I was astounded to be reminded that on our very first NewsTalk episode, we spent like half the show talking about Ryan Lochte for some
Olympic
reason.
swimmer.
The Olympic swimmer.
You know, and you mentioned that to me, and I told you that things were a little more chill in 2016, apparently.
It was a different time.
When the news was Ryan Lochte gets in trouble at the Olympics for being mean.
Ryan Lochte was mean. Oh, goodness gracious, Gons. We need to devote half our show to this guy.
Our first episode ever.
Yeah, my gosh. All right. I can't believe we are where we are.
Yeah. Long way.
Yes. He's real, too. All too real. He's called Ryan, which means little king, illustrious, or smart.
Ooh.
In a soft, soothing male voice, Ryan said, quote, "Now reach your arms out in front of you." At the same time, Ryan slowly raises his arms. His students seem to like him. Quote, "He's got the bluest eyes. He's really good, and his movements are interesting. They're a good contrast to the meditation," said Barbara Kreisman, 72, one of Ryan's pupils. The class is part of a...
Ryan's pupils?
Yes, he's got pupils. He's a master. He's a yoga master. The class is part of a study by DU's School of Engineering and Graduate School of Professional Psychology to see if socially assistive robots can improve range of motion, mindful attention, skills, and general well-being for those aged 65 and older. In essence, Ryan is in training to become a kind of super social worker. Dr. Mohammed H. Mahoor, a DU engineering professor and owner of Dreamface Technologies, the Denver-based startup that built Ryan, said the robot has been helping people who suffer from Alzheimer's and other cognitive disabilities at several Denver area assisted living centers since 2016. Quote, overall, the seniors felt the robot helped them maintain their schedule and improve their mood and stimulated them mentally. Mahoor said, Ryan is loaded with this Ryan right here is loaded with artificial intelligence. He's loaded. It allows him to start and maintain conversations, respond to questions, and make facial expressions, track movement, and even recognize emotions by observing facial expressions. And it goes on. He's got a screen. Yeah.
There's a photo. Yeah. So Ryan is like he's got kind of a humanoid body, but he's doesn't have legs. He's got four wheels.
He looks like a toy. It looks like a kind of toyish.
Yeah, and kind of like a head thing, but the face is a screen. The one I'm looking at here, the picture, his face is all pink. I don't know if he's like being silly or embarrassed or something like that. But
yeah, he's blushing.
Yeah,
he's blushing because Barbara was hitting on him. Oh, you're so good and strong, Ryan. Oh, if I was just a robot and 30 years younger. So this Flippy update fits into the trend that we've been seeing of robots really doing the work that, I mean, it's, in my opinion, that humans should be doing. I mean, taking care of the elderly.
Yeah, that's a true human connection.
Yeah, I mean,
job.
you really, if you're an older person and you're in some sort of care, I mean, you really need a human being. Like, there's something about a human being there, and the idea that robots are getting better and better at I say dealing with, because that's what it seems like the attitude is. Like,
it is.
We need, robots. This is part of the Flippy update, is we're constantly reading the PR about how robots are going to make our lives better, do the monotonous work to allow us to do truly important work, do the dangerous work so that we don't put people's lives in danger. And so the combination of, like, they're either doing the monotonous work we don't want to do or the dangerous work that we shouldn't be doing or whatever. To be talking about it in the caretaking role for the elderly is really sad and says a lot about society, where it's like, no, we just get a robot to take care of the elderly so we can do the more important work of whatever that might be.
You know what country has really modeled this for us, again, is Japan. Japan,
of course,
robots were... robot companionship in hospitals and stuff, it's been a thing for, I don't know, 20 years or something.
Yeah, a long time.
I mean, they are, and not only is there a depopulation of the younger generation, but yeah, they have that attitude of like, it's so inconvenient to have to take care of the elderly. That whole cultural honor system of taking care of your family and parents and stuff, grandparents, it's gone, really. And not entirely. Obviously, there's pockets of people still taking care of their family, but as a whole, culturally, it just seems like it has disappeared. But
yeah, and it's really, it's really sad. Here's another part of the article. This was a quote, I believe, from the same guy, and he said that this is from Sean Mapole, the principal investigator for the study at DU, said he has no doubt that socially assistive robots will have a role to play in assisted living facilities. Quote, we'll absolutely see them in these facilities this year, next year, and certainly in the next 5 years, and their role will be growing. That's because the technology is there, but also because there's a shortage of health workers. There are not enough caregivers to have yoga classes or to even have conversations with adults on a daily basis. And those are two roles that Ryan can fulfill. You are in Denver, Colorado, Sean.
At a university.
You are in Denver, Colorado. Do not for a second think I believe you that you are lacking in yoga instructors. Denver, Colorado, the mecca of American yoga instructors. You can't just get some, student yoga instructors into your facility. You must replace them with the robots. It's just really sad.
Plus yoga. Yoga being...
this robot does not do yoga. The robot lifts his arms and puts arms down. He doesn't even have legs.
That's what I'm saying. How could this robot teach yoga when all it's doing is two mechanical movements with that? You're not doing the down. I'm not picturing this robot doing the downward dog.
It's
You're
not
really
doing
getting low
nothing.
in the position. That's when we're really going to have issues, I guess.
It's arms up,
we should
arms
be happy.
down.
We should be happy that Ryan doesn't have the capability to really lean into some of those moves, some of those positions.
Guns, you cannot walk down the sidewalk in Denver, Colorado without accidentally taking a yoga class with some young yoga instructor.
I thought I was here to get a sandwich.
Yes, you order a coffee and suddenly you are in a yoga class. You blink and you're in a yoga class. Anyways, there you go. So and another part about this, in our long history of tracking Flippy, Sean is saying, hey, it's happening right now. This is happening now. This is not in the future. We'll continually see them improve and be more and more present in our old folks' facilities, but they are there now. This is not something in the future.
And as part of the pandemic, and I was kind of listening back in on the very first pandemic special, which was back in March of 2020, when we started this format. of the show, and yeah, we were reporting on how the story at the time was China coming out using robots for everything, where humans, can't because they're dirty and virus and And we made the point that this is going to be an accelerating thing for machines and robots to take over, especially in hospital settings and stuff. And it didn't take a genius to figure that out, but here we are seeing more and more of it, and also building that cultural sort of sentiment that, hey, if the robot's going to take care of them, then we don't. In the context of, a pandemic, a lockdown, everyone's, especially the elderly, they're isolated. Why don't you give them Ryan? So
Just
they got
give them a robot. Give them a robot.
Someone to talk to.
If anybody out there, seriously, if you go to Denver, Colorado, be careful where you stop and bend down and tie your shoes, because you'll be down there tying your shoes and you'll feel somebody's hand on your back. Just go, yes, good, breathe, breathe in and out. All right. That's your Flippy update for the day, everybody.
All right.